Welcome back to a Book for My Sister podcast where we are just two sisters hanging out and talking about books. My name's Amelia.
And my name's Cassie, and my cat's food is just going off.
Oh, Guillermo's is probably also about to go off. And we have a lot of book thoughts, so thanks for joining us today, and we hope you follow along our reading journey by subscribing to our podcast and letting us know what you're reading right now. We just want to take a little minute at the beginning of the episode here and just address how we're feeling and what's going on in this country that we live in. Maybe you all don't live in this country, and I'm happy for you.
Yeah, nice.
We live in America, and some things are happening. So Renee Nicole Good was murdered by an ICE agent a week and 3 days ago on the day that we're recording this, and it has been 18 days since Keith Porter Jr. was killed by an off-duty ICE agent on New Year's Eve.
And about 20 days ago, an ICE agent pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a detainee in exchange for her to see her daughter. So,
oh my God.
Yeah.
So, just to make this totally clear to all of our listeners, fuck ICE. ICE is a government organization that just is domestic terrorism. It is domestic terrorism. So, you know, if you support ICE, then please leave the chat. You're not welcome here.
Not welcome.
You're not welcome. People should be able to feel safe in their homes and their schools and public libraries and grocery stores and every day in their lives. And they should not have to, you know, be killed or kidnapped or get hurt to have this right. But, you know, we want to say, make sure that you're staying connected to people you care about in your community, get to know your neighbors, get to know, you know, the people you work with and just the people that live around you. If you feel like you want to get involved in some way, we would encourage you to do that. Join your local. I know that my community has an organization that helps immigrants kind of like if they need help with like groceries, or they have like tutoring sessions for children. And so we've got an organization like that where I live. So if you have something like that, then we would encourage you to go look them up and donate or join them or join your local DSA. If you're super busy or if you're not sure, you know, evaluate what you feel safe and comfortable doing. Obviously, it is a tenuous time to be looking at an ICE agent in the face. So, you know, it's always been a tenuous time to look an ICE agent in the face. Let's be for real. But if you're not sure if being in person to do something is right for you, that's totally fine. You can donate to your local organizations, find a mutual aid group. Instagram is a great place for, I know that I follow a mutual aid page for the town that I live in, and they post things about just people in your community that need help, you know, with food or bills or, you know, whatever. So there's always something that you can do. You know, if you're super busy, if you are in grad school and working full time, or you have kids or whatever, and it can feel like a lot. So if all you can do is donate or like help your neighbor if they need help, that's fine too. But let's not sit silently about what's happening, because this is not normal. It feels weird to go into work. Yeah, it feels weird to clock into the email factory and take my little break and look at the news and be like, oh, there are like things happening that are, you know, insane. And it's felt weird for a long time to sit down and do that. When in 2023, on October 7th, 2023, when the things in Palestine started to happen and I had to go to work and talk to people on the phone and answer their questions about, you know, whatever, I was like, why are we not all screaming?
Yeah.
What is going on? There is a genocide happening, and we're all just I have to come in and talk to you people and act like everything's okay. So, get to know each other, take care of each other, help your friends, pick your friends up from the airport. We owe each other things, so let's help each other. And then while we're on the topic of, you know, you might be wondering why our little book review podcast is talking about this. And we just want to say that reading is political. So, today on this episode, we might be talking about some little, time travel science fiction book by a white dude. But you know what? The reason that we're able to do this is because we had good teachers and we had parents who had time after their jobs to read to us at night. We had access to public libraries and we were encouraged to use them as children and adults. So we're able to read because a long time ago, some women decided that they were going to learn to do it and they were going to keep doing it, even though the men that they were around didn't want them to. So it's political to read. And all those things that I just listed, like supportive teachers and parents who have time to work and time to teach our children how to read, and, library access. Those are all political. Fascists don't want you to read. They don't want you to have media literacy. They want to point at a video of something that happened a week and a half ago and tell you that something else happened, even though we can all see what happened. I think we should all spend a little less time on social media, but curate your social media so that if that's where you get your news, you're getting news from trustworthy sources. So I like Midas Touch, I think, is the news organization. I think you follow them too, Cassie. It's like some guy who, he does breaking news all day.
Oh, yeah, Aaron Parnas, yeah.
Yes.
He's the best.
He's great.
He's really smart. Isn't he like a lawyer? He's very smart, or he like has some sort of
I don't know what
political
he is.
Science. He's very smart.
He's very
He does
smart.
a very good job.
Yes. And so, make sure that you are paying attention to news sources that you trust. CBS News, I don't think, we can't trust them anymore, okay? Barry Weiss is crazy. So don't go there.
No, don't go there.
Mainstream news is out here saying that Renee Good's son does not have, her family, her grandfather is out there or something saying that her kid doesn't have any parents when she has a wife that takes care of the children. A lot of larger media organizations are trying to describe her life as basically her kids have nobody. And they're describing her wife as, her partner, like they're not using the terms that they used. And they're trying to erase that she was a lesbian. So let's make sure that we have media literacy and we are paying attention and keep reading, okay?
Yep.
Because they want you to stop reading. They want you to not be able to imagine other things and other worlds and other ways that we can treat each other. So, all that to say, reading is political. Keep doing it. Pick up a book. If you don't like that, then that's fine. And the door's over there. So anyway.
There's the door, bitch!
Anyway. Cassie, what are you drinking today?
Today I am drinking an iced hazelnut latte. It is delicious. I got it after my 90-minute yoga class. That was rough. God. But it actually, no, it wasn't rough. It wasn't. It was very nice. I had a very lovely time. And so I treated myself with a lovely coffee after.
That sounds nice. I went to a 90-minute yoga class once. And while I was there, I was like, this is so horrible. I was like, I'm having the worst time. And then I left and I was like, okay, I feel really good. Because that's a long time to be doing yoga.
It is.
It was like hot yoga. It's like Pilates or something. I don't remember what it was that I took.
I
think
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was like, and the whole time, I was like, when is this over? And they don't have a clock in that room.
Clock.
So I was just like, I need to leave. I need to escape. But I did a 75-minute one time. And that, I think, if you're going to do hot yoga like that, I think you either need to do like a short one, like the shorter class, or you need to do the longer class, because the in-between class, I felt like I was dying in that class. That was the class
75
I think I told
minute?
you. Yeah, that was the class where I had to sit, or maybe it was the really, really, really hot one that was 75 minutes.
Yeah.
I literally, I thought I was going to pass out. I sat on my yoga mat and I did not do anything for 10 minutes. And I think that the yoga teacher was concerned. She brought me a little cold towel in advance. She was like, oh my God. So I think that it's good to either do the really long one because then your body has enough time to kind of like get used to it and you have more time to ease into it instead of like it's super hot and now you're doing all this, or the shorter one because then it's kind of like you're doing, less of it because it's shorter. So that's my personal experience anyway. I'm so happy that you did your little hour-and-a-half yoga because that's crazy.
No, it was quite lovely. And it was more like, yeah, we did more things, but it was also just we had a longer time to stretch at the end, which is what I liked. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like we were doing twice the amount of exercises where our heart rate's up. It was we were going slower, holding things longer, and then we had more stretching time, which is what I like. So
yeah, that's what they said in the long class that I took. I think she was like, "This is good because you have kind of more time to do things, and your body just has more time to like adjust to all the hard stuff you're doing."
Definitely, like I was feeling way more flexible. In the halfway point of that class than I would in like my normal 60-minute class. So it was great.
That's how I felt too. I only did it that one time because I get a little impatient when it comes to yoga, and I'm like, I need to do this for 30 minutes and then I need to be done. But
no one offers a 30-minute yoga class.
No, they don't. That's why I do yoga with Adrian at home.
Love that.
I'm like, I'm just gonna do this at home, and then my cat is like, "Hello, is this yoga mat mine?" And I'm like, "No, it's not." Oh man,
what are you drinking today? Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I am
drinking. How dare you? I don't even. Oh, I was gonna ask you if it was iced. Did you say it was iced hazelnut?
Oh yeah, mine's iced, of course.
Yum. I am drinking. I made on like Monday or something, or maybe it was last Sunday. I made some brownies, and I wanted to do a little icing on the top, but I didn't have any powdered. Like I had very minimal ingredients, so I made like ganache basically, and I melted like chocolate and butter and like a little bit of milk
to make
the icing. It was really good. Why'd you say, oh my gosh? Was that a good one?
Sounds delicious.
It was really good on the brownies, and then I had some left over, so I put it in a little container and put it in the fridge, and I was like, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this. But I used some of it last night for s'mores because they changed the milk chocolate Hershey's bars, the big ones that I got so I could do s'mores with my friends last night. They say like made in a facility with almonds or something.
Oh.
So I didn't know that until literally I brought them up to the fire pit last night, and I was like, oh, I can't eat that.
That's absolutely devastating.
And I didn't really have any other chocolate, but I was like, I do have my like chocolate like ganache.
Yeah.
So I melted it a little bit and I put on my marshmallow and my thing. It was really good, but then I still had some left over this morning. So I pulled my espresso shots over like a scoop of the ganache. So I have a little mocha, which I think that's how when they make like house-made mocha syrup in coffee shops, I think that is how they make it. Because I think it does have butter in it because you have to get the like thicker consistency. So I have a little mocha with that, and then I have just I steamed up some of my oat milk, and then some of my Oatly sweet creamer, because the ganache that I made, I just made it with really, really, really dark chocolate, so it's not very sweet, and I needed it to be a little sweet, so I did some of my sweet cream. So it's delicious.
It sounds so good.
My little mocha is really good.
I'm so glad.
Oh yeah. So everybody, today is our third Science Fiction Friday episode. Today we are continuing our very special Into the Crichton-verse series, where we are talking about different Michael Crichton books. Today we're talking about Timeline, which if you've listened to our last couple episodes, you'll know that was Cassie's favorite book of last year, and it was one of my least favorite books of last year. So today we're going to go deep into Timeline. These episodes are in no particular order, so, if you are popping in here and this is your first episode of Into the Crichton-verse, that's totally fine. We might reference, a couple of things that we talked about in other Crichton-verse episodes. We have some personal theories and, sort of a framework for how we think Michael Crichton writes certain characters and everything. So that's going to be back in our very first Crichton-verse episode, which I believe is Prey. So if you haven't listened to that one already, you might want to go back and just kind of hear us yap about what we think about his writing so you have a baseline. But it's not required. If this is where you're at, then come on in. That's totally fine.
In part 1, we open with a man and his wife driving through the Arizona desert. That sounds awful. They come upon a strange man and offer to take him to the hospital as he appears to be very ill. Down the road, they find a ceramic square and they're like, whatever. They take it with them just in case it belongs to the guy. So they take him to the hospital, and after a scan, it's revealed the man's veins are not aligned in his body. Like, they just don't even line up with each other. So
how would
obviously,
that even work? It's crazy.
I don't know, man. Obviously, he ends up dying in a few hours because you need your veins.
To align with each other.
To align with each other to pump your blood.
Yeah.
So he's dead. And because it's suspicious, the police take the ceramic piece that the couple found, and they're able to trace it back to a tech company called ITC. And they find out that the dead guy actually used to work there. The CEO, Robert Doniger,
I think it's
Doniger of the company, makes a statement that the man's death was a suicide because he just felt like unattaching his veins. And ITC, of course, covers it up without any further information or digging. Suspicious. In part 2, we follow a lawyer for ITC as she shows up at an archaeological site called Castelgard in France, where the company is funding an archaeological dig happening. And this is where we're introduced to our main characters, who are archaeology students under the supervision of their professor, Edward Johnston. The students are Chris, Merrick, and Kate. Johnston is speaking with the lawyer from ITC, and she implies that the company has information about the site that the researchers don't have. So, of course, as an academic, Johnston gets mad and demands to speak with the CEO about what he knows. So he flies back to New Mexico with the lawyer to learn more. And this is where we're introduced to our main characters, so let's do a little deep dive. Merrick is obsessed with the Middle Ages and medieval times. He is also able to speak and read Middle English, Old French, Occitan, and Latin. I had an English teacher who could read Old English, and it was crazy. It was so cool.
Like ye, who thou'st, like what do you
mean? No,
like,
it's more like it's like a mix of like Danish. And like French, and it's not English. It's just old. It's a different language. It is a completely different language. And you can see how like Old English, Middle English, and Early English, you can see how the words get more like modern day English. So yeah, she was so smart. One of my favorite teachers. And a crazy skill. So obviously you're obsessed with the Middle Ages and medieval times if you can do all those things.
Do those things.
Yeah, so this guy, He's a little oddball. He's also very familiar with how they dressed and acted back in the day, and is very good at jousting and sword fighting.
As you do.
So, yeah, he should go work at a medieval times place.
Seriously.
He would love it. Dude, have you ever heard of medieval times? You would have so much fun being a knight there. That'd be great.
They, like, joust each other. Like,
it's legit. I really want to go to one.
They do that.
I think that'd be so fun. Their next character, Chris, he's been learning jousting and horseback riding, and he is also the horniest character in the damn book. He is literally just chasing after all the female characters at some point.
Yes, yes.
Like this one time, he falls off his horse at the moment that a younger woman he has a crush on passes him, and he calls her the most seductive woman he has ever met. She's 20. How old is Chris?
He's actually not that much older than her, but I just thought it was weird. He's like 25 and she's 20, and I feel like that's still kind of a strange age difference.
I guess.
Because when you're 20, you're like literally still a child, and when you're 25, you're not.
Oh yeah, like I wouldn't do that. Like, but
like I think it's
weird. Yeah, personally, weird for me. I wouldn't. No, I would judge someone who does that. I would. Never mind. I take that back. I judge him. Yeah. So women everywhere, look out. Chris is on the prowl. and he doesn't care if you can drink yet. I guess they're in Europe, so everyone can drink.
That's true, I suppose.
Yeah. Next character is Kate. Kate is great. She is a very skilled mountain climber who can recall entire floor plans of ancient ruins in her mind. Very useful skill for this book. These students all very smart, and yeah.
It's almost like two of them have the exact skills that they need, and one of them does hardly have any of them.
Yeah, they have the exact skill set they need for the adventure they are about to embark upon. So while they're working on their excavations, the students discover a modern pair of bifocals half buried in the ruins, which causes some panic because they worry it could mess up their entire project because they think that, oh gosh, someone left these here. That's going to ruin the results of our experiments and our excavations because we've tampered with the site. So they're like, who the hell's glasses are these? And they're trying to figure it out, and they can't figure it out. Then, while most of the students are at dinner, Elsie... Who's Elsie? Did we talk about
Elsie? No, I forgot. Elsie is
I know who she is, but she
analyzes documents.
Yeah. Okay, so another character is Elsie. She analyzes
She's not one of the
manuscripts, documents. She also speaks languages like Latin, and so she's really good at handwriting, so that kind of thing. So while they're at dinner, Elsie calls them over the walkie-talkie and asks them to come look at something. They go and find that she has discovered a note in their professor's handwriting that says, "Help me, 4/7/1357." That's a date. In the ruins. They verify that the page is as old as the date listed, but Merrick insists that Elsie must be mistaken because that would mean that somehow their professor was in that room and wrote that note in 1357. That's impossible.
Impossible.
That's impossible. Merrick goes into the professor's room to compare the bifocals they found with another pair of his glasses and realizes that they are the same. How can this be? There has to be some sort of reasonable explanation. Well, in the meantime, they receive a call from ITC asking them to come to New Mexico. As they are on the plane to New Mexico, the vice president of ITC informs them that the company has invented time travel. Sick! We, of course, get some classic Crichton science drawings trying to explain the time travel, but we're not going to attempt to, figure out that
Explain the science of that.
All that matters, they invented time travel, and it's sick.
It's very scientific.
Very scientific. So their professor wanted to try out this technology for himself and has not returned, hence the glasses and the note. So ITC is asking the students to go back in time and rescue their professor. On the flight, they're all given headphones to listen to Middle English language so that they will be familiar with pronunciations and everything when they go back in time, which is definitely not enough time to learn Middle English, but okay, that's fine.
They're like, the ITC people are like, they're like, can we take a nap? Like, we're tired. And they're like, yeah, you can fall asleep. Just put these headphones on and you'll absorb the Middle English
they're absorbing
while you're
this
asleep.
Information, which is pretty cool. I wish I could absorb the language.
No, I don't think I think that was just, they were like, oh, you'll be fine. I don't think that they have any particular science that allows them to do that. I think that they literally were just like,
I thought
listen to it.
Okay.
They're just
that
like,
wouldn't work.
Like, if that's how you learned a language, I would just literally put on different languages in my headphones every night and fall asleep. Because I'm absorbing it in my sleep.
Part 3. They arrive in New Mexico. Doninger, the evil corporate CEO who owns the time travel technology, explains it to them and that their professor demanded to try it for himself and that his only chance for survival was in the hands of his students. Sure. He promises that the technology is very safe and that it's all optional, but he was like, don't let your professor down. And they were like, okay, sure. Very trustworthy. He says, don't even worry. He's so chill about it. He said, don't even worry. You'll be there for 20 minutes. You'll go find him, grab him, be back.
How big can the Middle Ages really be even? Probably small.
It's probably so small. You're gonna find him.
He's gonna be in front of you when you get there. It's fine.
People are gonna be so chill. They're going to love to have you. Okay. So they get MRIs to make sure their bodies are good to go and their atoms are strong enough to survive the travel because science. Then they are given 2 little tracking markers that have a return button on them. So you click the button when you want to return to present day as soon as they find the professor. The time travel machines can remain another time for up to 37 hours. So they have a 37-hour time limit before they automatically return to present day. They're also equipped with translators in their ears and first aid kits, and they are dressed in the era-appropriate garb. Part 4. They are sent back in time to Castlegard in 1357 and are accompanied by 2 experienced time travelers from the company. But as soon as they land in this time, their bodyguards get into an argument, and one of them uses one of their 2 markers to go back to present day. Like, so selfish. And then the second bodyguard is killed immediately.
She's decapitated.
She is absolutely decapitated by some soldiers, killed immediately, and her marker is smashed to bits along with her. So the 3 students are completely on their own with no button to get them back to present day. Then they're attacked by some guys on horses. Yay, Chris is saved by a young boy who pulls him up, helps him escape, and they both run away. Kate and Merrick hide and are able to stay with the bodyguard's body. She has been decapitated. They find her head and the marker unsmashed.
Because the reason that they thought that it was smashed was because they couldn't find her head. So they were like, oh no.
Yeah, well, they found it, so...
smashed.
Yeah. So now they do have a way to get back, but they've been separated from Chris. Thankfully,
and they only have one way to get back.
Yeah, now there's only one way, which, yeah. Thankfully, they do have those earpieces, and they can communicate with him.
So Chris walks around with the boy after they escape, and he attempts to speak with him. The boy assumes that Chris is Irish because he can't speak this, Middle English. He doesn't know what's going on. And the boy is like, where are you from? And he's like, And the boy's like, are you Irish? He's like, yes, I'm Irish. And so the boy is like, oh, are you gentle? And Chris is like, I think I'm a pretty gentle guy. Like, yeah, I'm gentle. And then we find out that what that actually means is royal and noble.
Freaking
and Chris
idiot.
has... Because Merrick hears in his earpiece, he hears Chris say that he's gentle. And Merrick is like, what is he even talking about? We're not gentle. We're just normal. And Chris was like, yeah, I'm gentle, and all of my friends are also gentle. Because he is, like, thinking that he's downplaying the threat that they are. He's like, we're chill, But the boy is like, oh, wow, y'all are all gentle? Like, that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
So cool. So, Merrick hears all this and is like, oh, this is going to be bad.
Idiot.
And so Merrick and Kate have been walking through a small village when suddenly, I guess, their professor sees them through a window. And he was hiding in this monastery, and he sees them through, like, the window of the monastery that he was hiding in. And he comes out, and he's like, oh my God, you guys came for me. Except he doesn't actually even say thank you. He's just like, woohoo, you're here, or something.
He's like, great, let's leave.
Yeah, literally, he's not like, thank you so much for risking your lives. He's just like, let's go. So they're just walking through this village, and their professor pops up. So, that does happen, that he did just appear to them.
Yeah.
And then we are back with Chris, and he has reached the castle with the boy. It is then that the boy reveals himself to actually be Lady Claire, who is a young, widowed noblewoman. The ruler of the castle, whose name is Sir Oliver, has chosen a new husband for Claire, who he likes. But Claire's like, I'm not going to marry this guy. So she is like, well, Chris here is a noble.
He's so gentle.
He's so gentle. He's going to fight in my honor for my hand so that I don't have to marry this other guy. She says, I'll be fighting for my own hand.
Except no, she's having Chris
Except no, she doesn't. She said, Chris will fight for my hand.
It's like, bro, I don't want to get married. I'm only 25. And they're like, dude, you're going to be in a grave.
So
you got one foot in the grave.
Gotta get moving.
Better late than never.
Yeah. So we get a lot of interior decorating descriptions, and the characters are like, oh my gosh, we didn't know what kind of furniture they had and what kind of, how they washed themselves back then. And like, they're like, we don't know any of this because there was no depictions in modern media or in any renderings of the Middle Ages. So nobody knows what anything is like, which I don't know if that's true, but all the characters are like, oh my God. There's no drawings of what it looked like back then.
There's not a lot that's survived. It's mostly based on archaeological excavations. So you're like, oh, they use this kind of wood for this furniture. This must have been this room, and this must have been this room. And it's kind of, you just kind of guess to what it. So a lot of it's just educated guesses as to what it looked like and what people did.
When was Pompeii?
Okay. Yeah, and then you have instances like Pompeii where it's perfectly preserved.
Oh, that was in the year 79. This is way before. Okay.
Yeah.
It was. I saw a museum. What am I saying? Museum. What is it called? Curation. When they have like a thing when that's their display. What?
An exhibit.
Exhibit.
Yeah.
About Pompeii, and it was really interesting. But anyway.
No, Pompeii is very interesting. Yeah, it's like we know more about the classical era than a lot of medieval times because there was
so interesting.
Yeah, it was better preserved.
Interesting. Okay. Well, so they're geeking out about the interior design, and then Chris is getting a bath by one of the servant boys, I guess. I don't know. And Chris is like, he like washes himself. And he's like, okay, I'm clean. And the boy looks at him and he's like, you are not clean. And he like scrubs Chris's skin until he's like red, basically. And he's like, oh, these people are actually really clean. So we get that. And then basically Kate, Merrick, and the professor get into the castle somehow. And the professor makes a promise of some kind that we're not really familiar with to Sir Oliver, and requests that he have his assistants help him to complete this promise. So Kate, Merrick, and Chris. So they could all, be together in the same room and like travel together. And so Sir Oliver's like, and he's thinking about it. And then Chris and Claire show up. And Chris wordlessly and accidentally accepts a duel for Claire's hand because he has no idea what's going on. And so Sir Oliver's like, okay, I guess you're fighting. So go on out there right now. And so Chris gets dressed to joust and sent out to the field. They're putting all the armor on him. And he's like, oh my God, how am I supposed to breathe in all this armor? Yeah. They're like putting layers and layers of like heavy clothes and metal on him. And of course he gets his ass handed to him because
he don't know how to joust.
He has no idea.
He barely knows how to ride his horse.
Yeah, and so the guy that Claire is engaged to has beat him. And so Merrick is like, I will help out. And he throws on some gear really quick, and he jumps on the horse, and he starts to joust. And they're fighting, and Merrick is winning. And then the other guy, the man who's fighting for Claire's hand, he is like, mercy! And then Merrick is like, maybe I should kill him anyway. Like the guy is like, please
people are crazy. I could just kill this guy.
Yeah, Merrick is like, I think maybe I should kill him. And he's like thinking about it for a couple minutes, and then he's like, I guess not. So, that's interesting. One of our main characters thinks he's going to kill somebody just because.
He's a little bloodthirsty.
He's a little bit, yeah. And so while this is happening, Kate is split up from the group and has to sneak around until she hears Chris and Merrick's voices. And then she has to like tiptoe around basically to follow them. So
she's a lady on her own. Isn't she pretending to be a man?
Yeah,
though?
she's dressed like a boy. Yeah, they've like tucked her hair up into, or no, I think she's got a wig on.
Ew.
What it is she has a wig on because she's got like medium length hair, which is not like long enough for the period. And so before they left, the ITC was like, you can either put on a long wig or you can pretend to be a boy. And
which
she was
probably
like,
better
I guess
to
I'll
pretend
wear
to be
a
a
wig.
boy anyways. Oh.
Yeah, probably. But she's like, I'm just gonna throw this wig on. So she's a girl for like the first half.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I know she does pretend to be a boy at some
later
point.
She pretends to be a boy.
Yeah, because that's smart.
Yeah, I don't really know, but I think she was just like, I'm a girl. I can't be a boy. I can't dress like anything else. So the boys have been grabbed by the guards after, fighting the guy. And the guards are like, you have disrespected the castle during your joust. And they throw them into the dungeon. But the professor's already in the dungeon, so they're all together.
Arrested.
I don't know why he's in there, but he's in there. And so then Kate she starts getting chased around by the guards too. But then she manages to find the dungeon. And they find the keys, and so she lets out the boys and the professor. So now they're all together again. So while they're running down a corridor, there are lots of corridors, they come upon like this vent or like this secret like little window into a room.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like a secret passage or something, and they're like running away. But then they see in this room, and they see Claire and the guy that she's engaged with, who she doesn't want to marry. His name is Sir Guy. And they are like making out, and she's like, I could never marry you. You're such a scoundrel. But they're like making out, and it's like, what is going on? And he's like, ugh, whatever. I don't know. They're like having this weird like sex argument or something. And then for some reason, this makes Chris feel rejected.
Jeez,
and he's like, oh, I can never win. And he feels like
why didn't this
duped.
Gentle noble woman want me? Chris, you're a loser.
She just met you, bro. Oh my God.
You're a loser, and you lost the joust, and you probably cried. And that's embarrassing.
Yeah, and that's fine. No, it's fine. And he feels like she manipulated him by like seducing him to trick him to fight for her or whatever. Even though like he's not really like, wow, she's actually really sexy. Like, and she's never like, OMG, you're so sexy. Like, that's not, we never see them do that or act that way, like him and Claire. And yet he feels very upset about what he's seeing. So then they hear some people coming, and Sir Guy's like, oh, I gotta go.
Imagine being you've time traveled to medieval times and you're still horny. Like,
this is a life or death situation.
Keep it in your pants, and you're still mad. Serious. My God, focus.
One track mind. Every woman he sees, he's like, how can I get them to come home with me? Crazy. Even though you don't even have a home here, because this is Middle Earth or whatever.
You're Middle Earth.
This is
no.
This is not
Middle Earth.
Like the plague is happening or something. Like, don't be horny.
Yeah, literally. You guys could be killed at any second. Stop being horny for 2 seconds, please.
And they could be killed any second, because then Sir Guy is like, I gotta go. And he leaves through the same secret corridor. He opens a little vent that they're standing behind, and he sees them, and he's like, ah! And he calls the guards, and the guards are somehow, they're like there immediately. Even though it's not like we saw them, our characters didn't see them. They're in a secret hall, and the guards descend within a second of Sir Guy calling them. So I don't know what that's about. So then, of course, the 4 of them are taken back to Sir Oliver, who sends them up to the most secure tower in the castle, where they are sure to be killed. He's like, you'll never escape. This is the highest building that I can think of. Of course, then they decide to escape by descending the side of the castle, which conveniently, Kate is a master climber. Yeah. So she is able to scale this 60-foot wall with no attachments or rope or crampons or anything. She's like, I am just going to climb down this old building by myself, which people do, whatever. She could do that. I don't know. And then, to be honest, this ensues a very long escape rigmarole scene that I'm not going to describe here, because this is just like, it's a lot of back and forth. They end up escaping. So while all this is happening, during a lot of this book, there's been discussion about another castle attacking Castleguard. And they're like, the attack's going to come, like, they're going to come get us or whatever, like the castle, not like our characters.
It's also how the professor has stayed alive, because he's promised to make the explosive, like, black powder thing, like, machine to beat the guy. So that's why the Oliver guy has kept him alive for so long, because he's like, I'll make you a really sick weapon. So
yeah, and they're like, okay.
And they're like, okay, so he does.
Yeah, so they're like, the castle is expecting an attack from another castle, basically. And so while our characters are trying to escape, the attack begins. But they do manage to get to safety for the night. Like outside of the monastery where their professor was staying, they like fall asleep outside. At this point, they wake up and then they have to do a lot of little things to try and escape. So we're not, again, going to get into it specifically.
A lot of falling,
a lot of running around, a lot of getting separated. Oh my God, they get
a lot of
separated
dirty,
so many times.
A lot of getting
so dirty,
killed.
Falling into water and getting up, like just a lot. So, in the chaos of all of this, Merrick hands Kate the little button for their escape that can call the machine. And he tells her to run. He's like, go. And she's like, what about you? And he's like, I'll catch up with you. So she escapes. There's a lot of chases, a lot of people being separated again. Eventually, somehow they all end up in the same place with 1 minute to spare on their timer or whatever. And then Merrick is like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay in the 1300s.
He said,
because there's it's like a very cramped
this little life.
Yeah, literally. Because the machine is like a little too small, I think, for all of them. And he's like, or what it is someone is attacking them, the machine,
and he's
while
like,
they're trying to leave.
I'm going to go get them.
Yeah, he's like, I'll fight them off, you guys leave. And they're like, Merrick, oh my God. And he's like, I was born to do this.
Trust me, I'm going to be just fine.
And then literally they like take off and the professor is like, he's wanted to do that his whole life anyway. So like, he'll probably be fine.
And he was.
This professor, he does not say thank you. He does not show any like care or affection towards his students. And then when one of them decides to stay in the 1300s forever, he's just like, well, isn't this like low-key what he wanted his whole life anyway? So who really cares? I'm like, what is going on? Are you an adult man? Why do you think these things? So they leave. And then while they were in the 1300s and they were doing all their stuff, we were getting interspersed scenes from current day from the time travel company and this PR disaster they're having with the guy whose veins were severed. Yeah. And they're like dealing with this PR disaster. So by the end of the book, some of the workers have created another time travel device. So because some of them got destroyed. It was a whole thing. Some of them got destroyed.
Thing, yeah.
A whole nother thing that I was like, we don't really honestly need to talk about this.
Important.
It's really not that important. But after they sent the kids to the 1300s, the other time travel device got destroyed. And so the workers create another one. So at the end of the book, they decide they all hate their boss and they throw him into the time travel machine and they send him back to like the first year of the Black Death plague.
Yeah.
And he lands and he opens the door and he's like, oh God, this is really awful. And then he literally starts to cough. So then we've got an epilogue, is a time skip of an unspecified amount of time where Kate is 7 months pregnant and they are all driving through the English countryside with Elsie. I guess Chris and Kate are together. It's not explicitly stated. And he is not really that affectionate.
They were.
It's assumed, but sorry, the heat just came on and it's quite loud. It's assumed, but it's not explicitly stated, and he's really not affectionate. He like helps her walk up a hill or something.
Yeah, I'm reading it now. It's like he pats her knee and then he helps her out
he
of the
pats
car.
her.
Which he could just be horny.
He could just be. That's what I'm saying. He's so into every female character. He is like, let me be close to you because I'm a little perv. So it's not really stated, but she's pregnant. So, and we don't know that many people in this book aside from our main characters. So we're just assuming that it's Chris.
Yeah.
And so guess they're together. And so then they walk up this hill in the English countryside to like a little cemetery. And it's where Merrick and Lady Claire's grave is. And they found it. And they read his tombstone, which says that he married Lady Claire. And they had kids. And he lived up until the ripe old age of 54, dying in 1382. And that's the end. And also it says on the... I'm not sure if it says this on the tombstone or if they just say it. But there was like speculation that Lady Claire had killed her first husband or something. And they were like, there was always rumors that she had killed her husband, but he just loved his wife so much he just didn't even care. And it's like, okay, yeah, who cares? Good for him. So that's the end of the book. The end.
Yeah, the end.
The end.
Okay, discussion time. I mean, I love this book because I thought it was good throughout, but I thought the ending was so sick and twisted. I just absolutely loved it. I ate that up. So, Doninger, he is transported back to the medieval times, obviously, and he's so, like, he's, like, a little bit of, like, a narcissist, like, he's a nasty man, and he's like, oh, these idiots, like, I always keep
like
a
evil.
button in my shoe. Like, yeah, he doesn't care about other people at all. So he's like, these guys are so stupid. I have a button in my shoe. I'm going to get back there in 2 seconds. The button in his shoe is stuck. And so he's like, ugh, this is so annoying. Let me just go find a freaking, like, leather shop or a blacksmith so I can get a chisel to take off the bottom of my shoe. These idiots. Like, that's what he's thinking this whole time. So he walks into town. And he's like, wow, it's, like, really empty. There's, like, nobody here. Wow, all the fields are dead. Like, there's weeds everywhere. So he's like, this is really weird. So he's just walking, and there's literally nobody there. And then he starts to hear a drum. And then a dozen monks, all dressed in black, are coming towards him, chanting in a procession. Half of them are stripped down to their waists, and they are lashing themselves with leather whips.
Wait, this happens at the end of the book.
Yes. Oh my god. So,
I literally must have been. I was skimming it so hard at the end that I like didn't even recognize that was happening.
Yeah. So it's like it's.
Why are they doing that? Wait, why are they doing that?
It's called flagellation. It's when you. It's a religious thing. It's when people would beat their body with instruments like whips or, sticks, and it was used as, like, punishment, as for, like, it could be used for, like, a legal punishment or a religious penance. So instead of, say 5 Hail Marys, it was go whip yourself 5 times,
Oh my god.
Yeah. So they were doing it for a religious purpose. They were whipping themselves. And so he sees these guys and he's like, okay, these guys are crazy. These are just whipping themselves. That's really weird. And then he runs into a cart and he's like, oop, my bad. Turns around. He sees bundles of clothing on the cart. He's like, that's odd. Then he sees a child's foot, then a woman's arm, and then the buzzing of flies. He sees a swarm of flies. And then he sees blackish lumps on the arm, and that's when he knows that it was the Black Death. And so, because he thought they transported him right back to where they transported the students, so he was like, time of somewhat peace, like easy. And then it says he now knew what year it was. It was 1348, the year the plague first struck Castlegard and killed 1/3 of the population.
So I think I was confused too, because how many years did the plague reign for? Was it like COVID, where like everyone was freaking out for like a year and a half, and then people were less freaked out?
I couldn't tell you because it doesn't say. Because I know there were different eras of the plague. It wasn't just one time. It happened a few times. Okay,
it's from 1346 to 1353 in Europe. Okay,
yeah. So this was
so they
in the
were
middle
sent. 1357 was like just a couple years after the plague. Okay.
Yeah, and he got sent to the middle of it.
Well, it sucks to suck.
Yeah, and then it's his, like, he's and then he kind of is going over. He's like, oh gosh, like bites of fleas, you can breathe it. He's kind of freaking out, and then he says, oh gosh, he'd been so close to the soldier by the gate. He passed the soldier by the gate. He had been close to the man's face, very close. Doninger slumped down against a wall, feeling the numbness of terror creep over him. As he sat there, he began to cough. The end. Like, are you kidding me? That is so sick and twisted. Ooh, I was just like, I was rubbing my little hands together when I was reading
like
that.
Like a little fly?
Like a little fly. Ooh, I was so excited. That's a great ending. That's a great ending.
That is a good ending.
Like, because the whole book you're like, wow, this guy sucks. He's such an asshole. And then he gets they don't just fire him. They don't force him to step down. They don't just send him back to medieval times to get, killed by a soldier or whatever. They get him, he gets the plague. That's so sick. Ugh, it's so good. I wish I could send some people back to get the plague.
Oh, wow. This is why we need unions, people.
That's why we need unions, so we don't have to send our CEOs to the plague.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh, man.
I just loved the book, loved the ending. That was great.
See, I can see, I think that if the book leading up to the ending had been more interesting for me, then I could have appreciated the ending more.
Sure.
But by the time I got to the end, I was so done with this book because the ending is so, to me, or like leading up to the ending, not the very ending that you just read, but it takes so long to do. It takes forever. And everything is repetitive. Like, they're together, and then they're separated, and then they're together, and then they're separated, and then they're escaping, and then they're caught, and then they're escaping, and then they're caught, and they're separated. And that happens for, like, the last half of the book. And it feels like the same thing is happening over and over again. And I'm like, am I supposed to feel stress? Because the same thing keeps happening over and over again. And at some point, I have to stop feeling stressed for these people.
Yeah.
Because, my God, it's just so repetitive. And even when I was when I was skimming it for the episode, I was like, my God, this is so repetitive. Like, we can't think of anything else to happen. It's 1357. I feel like a lot of things could be happening.
Yeah.
Why is the same thing happening over and over again? And so that just, like, I think that by the time we got to the very end of the book, I was like, okay, let this be over.
Yeah, I agree that, like, the last, like, not, like, the last third, like, let's say the book was, split into fourths. The 3/4 section of the book. Oh, yeah. The 3/4 section of the book probably wasn't necessary. It probably just needed the first, second, and fourth. But, that's
or like a little bit of the third.
So I just skimmed
but not all
through
of
it a little, like if it was like they're running, I'm like, okay, skim, just
yeah.
I didn't let that sour the book for me.
I think I was just this was also, I think, one of the last, I went on a Michael Crichton binge like last March, and I read 6 of his books in like a month, and this was one of the last ones that I read. And I think by that time I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's fair.
I'm done doing this.
I hadn't read one of his books in a minute when I picked this one up, so.
This is like my 5th one. But then I really liked the last one that I read. But the 5th one I was like, please, for the love of God. But yeah, I mean, the ending, I can appreciate that last little ending bit. I just wish that the rest of the book had sort of matched the vibe of the ending, maybe, where it was like really stressful,
Yeah.
I don't know. Something else that I just thought was kind of strange about this book, the way that it was formatted, was the page breaks. Like, I don't know if you noticed that when you were reading this book.
I just was skipping, because I was like, what are you talking about? And I was skipping through it, and I was like, oh, yeah.
They're like, it's very strange, because obviously there are page breaks in like every book, because that's how you separate scenes from each other. But there are so many, and he will be writing, like, it will be the same scene, and then there will be like 2 page breaks within the same exact scene. It feels like a TV show where they're like fading to black for an ad or something, and then they're coming back and they're like, like, that's kind of what it felt like, because there were a lot of page breaks within the same scene, and it feels like he's just doing it for dramatic effect. It feels like he's trying to drop the mic, but he's dropping the mic every 2 to 5 minutes. And it's like, well, not that many things are happening where you need to do that. Like when Elsie discovers the letter from the professor, she tells them about it, and then the paragraph ends there halfway down the page. And then the next paragraph picks up a quarter of the way through the next page. But no time has passed. It's the same scene. It's just a continuation of the scene. There's not even like 5 minutes have passed between scenes. It's like the exact same. It's like literally like Merrick's response right after Elsie says what she says. So I was like, I wonder if he was like doing screenwriting for ER, and he was like, I'm gonna use some screenwriting tactics in my written book. And like maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know. Because I was just like, what is going on with all these page breaks? Like it feels like everything, like he wanted everything to feel really, really, really dramatic. But even the stuff that wasn't so dramatic, I was like, this isn't really, what is this page break for? You know?
Yeah, I was trying to find a specific, I just saw it, but I was trying to find a specific one. But yeah, it's kind of like what you were saying. It feels very TV, where this was, the one that I just saw was like, they were back at the company and they were trying to build the new time machine, and someone was like, I can't get them back. And like you'd expect like an ad. You're like, no, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
And then it picks up with, actually, I know what I can do. And it's like, oh, okay. Oh, that was. It does feel very TV.
It does. It's weird. It's like, I don't know if maybe he just like did not realize that he was writing like TV in this book or what, because this book was published in 1999. So when did, let's see, Michael Crichton. In 1974, he wrote the screenplay. Well, that was way before this. This was before,
he'd been working in TV books and stuff. Like, he helped with the Jurassic Park movies, and that was before this. Like, he'd been working. Yeah, he'd been working in TV for a long time, so it makes sense.
Yeah. So I just thought that was really interesting, and I was reading it, and I remember saying to my boss, because she really liked this book. She was like, "Oh, I think this is one of his best books, and I think you're gonna like it." And I was reading it, and I was like, what is up with all these page breaks? Like, what is going on? And she was like, oh, I really am not sure what that's about. I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I don't think it bothered me as much as it bothered you.
It really bothered me.
Because sometimes they do make sense sometimes, because the characters
sometimes
were so
they
separated.
Make sense.
So it's like, oh, this is what Kate was doing. This is what Chris was doing. Yeah, but
sometimes they were normal. Like a book has page breaks, you know. Books have page breaks, but it's not like a chapter is always separating situations and scenes and stuff. So where they're normal, it's fine. But then he'll do it in the same scene, and I'm like, and then you'll look at like literally like 2 pages next to each other, and there will be like 3 page breaks combined on those 2 pages, and you're like, this is not necessary. Why are we breaking up the flow of the book for these page breaks? It bothers me. It's like how you in Night Bitch didn't like how there were no quotation marks around people's speech, and it didn't bother me that much. Like the format on this one, I was just like, oh,
just
God,
depends on the reader.
And something that I just thought was interesting upon like rereading this book was how often Merrick talks about killing people or thinks about killing people. Like at the beginning of the book, he's practicing shooting arrows or like jousting or whatever. And the second time, he's practicing shooting. And then Kate is like, tee, how do you, like, why do you need to know how to do that? And Merrick was like, well, I could kill a man if I could, or if I needed to. And she's like, yeah, I guess so. And then the second time, you know, he almost kills the guy when he's jousting for Claire's hand, just like for funsies, because he's like, oh, I gotta kill people. And I'm like, are we rooting for this guy? Like, he's so okay with killing people. He's not from the Middle Ages. He lives in 1999 or whatever. So why is he walking around being like, maybe killing people is okay? And then when they're escaping from the tower, when they're in the Middle Ages, he kills a guy with a candlestick. And Chris is like, is he dead? And Merrick says, who cares? And like, I get that it's a life or death situation, but Chris is like, oh my God. And Merrick is like, buck up. Who cares if he's dead? And it's like, oh my God. And then Chris, I think, does kill somebody, and he is like shocked. He's like, oh my God. And I'm like, are we supposed to think? Now, maybe I think that Michael Crichton didn't write Chris with the intention of us disliking him, but if he did, then I think it's interesting that Chris, who is unlikable, in my opinion, is also the one who's like, oh God, I can't believe I killed somebody. Like, this is so horrible. I'm like freaking out and having a panic attack. And then Merrick, who's just like chill, he's like, whatever. Kill people, don't kill people, whatever. It's like, okay.
Well, yeah, about Chris, I don't think he was. I think he was supposed to be likable. I just,
Probably.
you can be a womanizer and not be homicidal. Like,
that's true. It's true.
So, yeah, we don't like him because he's horny all the time, but it still makes sense that he doesn't want to kill a guy.
He's still just a normal guy.
Yeah,
and Merrick is out here being like, this is just life,
Merrick,
buddy.
I think his thing is he's studied the past for so long, and he's kind of immersed himself in this other world, so much so that he does feel like he truly belongs there, and like, obviously he stays in the end, so that proves that he feels like he doesn't belong.
And honestly, thank God then,
times.
if he's got that mindset, he doesn't belong in 1999.
Yeah, he just feels like he's like, well, I'm here, and also maybe he's able to like kind of like not like disassociate from the fact that he's killing people, because
compartmentalize.
He was like, this was so long ago, no one's gonna remember these people, like, I don't know. But I think it was probably just because he was so like deep in his studies, and he was like, this is what they did and this is how I'm doing it, and it's like, okay,
crazy.
Yeah,
I just think it's crazy. I was just reading it and I was like, am I supposed to like this guy?
Yeah, like I don't agree with it, but I think
I'm not sure about that.
I understand what he was doing and how he got that way.
Yeah. Crazy. Okay, let's see. Do we want to talk about the ladies?
Let's talk about the ladies. Ladies.
Okay. So, there's actually, like, quite a few women in this book.
There are.
And so I wrote them down. So, we've got Sophie, who is the 20-year-old, who's also the most seductive woman, the hottest person to ever walk the planet. We have Elsie, who is, one of the people working at the site with our main characters. She is described as being, quote, pretty, capable of intense concentration, and also, quote, heavyset. But also, she's so capable of focusing on her job that they describe her as strange. Which I'm like, she just sounds like a nerd.
Yeah,
she's just like reading old letters. But everyone was like, God, she's kind of strange, don't you think? And I'm like, Merrick thinks it's okay to kill people.
I think all the characters are a little strange because they're all nerds.
They're sure.
So, yeah, they're all a little, like...
And that's fine. But don't describe one of them as being more strange than the others because she's, like, invested in her studies or whatever.
Yeah, like, Merrick, you devote hours a day to learning how to horseback ride and joust. That's strange.
That's strange as hell.
That's not a skill you can use anywhere else. But at least
learn some transferable skills.
At least Elsie's good at reading.
Yeah. It's just funny. I thought it was interesting that the person that Michael Crichton describes as being like a heavyset woman is also like, no one's really attracted to her because she's just kind of strange.
Yeah, she's just strange.
It's like, okay, like I guess you just hate fat people. Michael Crichton.
Yeah, she's
all
like,
right.
he's
Which,
like, I
mean,
guess she's pretty, but she's also smart and fat. So
she's also kind of fat. So
not
she's
not
focusing
really,
too hard on her studies.
Yeah. Obviously.
Oh, man. Obviously. And then we have Kate, who Chris is Kate is there, and then Chris gets, quote unquote, rejected. I'm going to put that in air quotes because you're not rejected. Because he sees Sophie when he falls off the horse, and Sophie's like, tee-hee-hee, maybe I'll see you later. And he's like, tee-hee-hee, okay. And then they're walking together, and then some man picks Sophie up in his car and drives away. And Chris is like, oh my God, I feel like she slapped me in the face. I'm like, oh my God.
You were going to hang out with me? And now
she's 20. Like, leave her alone. Oh my God. And so then after that happens, he goes to dinner with his coworkers. And he's like, maybe Kate is sort of attractive, actually. And like literally after he's rejected by Sophie, he's like, maybe Kate is actually who I'm interested in. And then he tries to ask Kate out when they're like in a boat or something, like boating somewhere, rowing on a little rowboat. I don't know. And he tries to ask her out. And she's like, I think we should just be coworkers. And then he's like irritated with her and like taking out his frustration on her.
It's so crazy.
It's just like, my God, like, dude,
you're at work.
You're at work. Oh my God.
You're in medieval times. Keep it in your pants.
Like, seriously, relax. So then we have Kate, and then we've got.
Can I read my quote about Kate?
Yes, read your quote about Kate.
This is I was reading this in a coffee shop. I laughed out loud when I read this quote. Page 68. Kate Erickson was not a pretty girl, as her mother, a homecoming queen at UC, had so often told her. But she had a fresh, all-American quality that men found attractive. What does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? What is a fresh all-American quality? I don't know. Amelia, do I have a fresh all-American quality?
All-American quality? I don't even know. Does that mean, like, is he trying to describe her as, like, girl next door, but he doesn't want to use rom-com terms? So he's just like, oh, all-American quality.
It's got to be like, oh, people, yeah, girl next door, she's very unassuming and, but, oh, she's there and she's always there and, oh, she takes her glasses off. Ooh, she's so all-American, kind of like that.
That is so odd.
All of the rom-com.
How strange.
Stereotypes are Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's insane.
Yeah.
And Kate is also, she climbs. She's a climber.
I think that also has to do with, like, the sportiness, all-American. She's sporty, she's all-American, she's girl next door, she's mousy, but she's also very fit and blonde and unassuming.
Yes, exactly.
That's why the men like her.
Only Chris.
The men, Chris.
Because Chris is the only one in the book who is actually, like, actively chasing women. Yeah,
this book could have had zero of that in it, and it still would have been, like, the same book. Fine. So I don't know why it was.
It didn't need any of that.
It did not need Chris doing all that.
We didn't need Kate to be 7 months pregnant with Chris's baby.
We also did not need that.
What does that add? What does that do for anybody? It makes me feel bad for Kate. Is what it does.
Bad because
I feel sad for her.
He's probably
an inattentive partner.
Lou. I'm sure he's a looky Lou.
He's inattentive. He didn't help her. She's 7 months pregnant. He didn't carry her up that hill. He should have carried her up that hill.
Okay.
I don't know. But I just feel like Chris probably doesn't care because the reason that he's attracted to her in the first place is because he was rejected by a girl who's too young for him.
Yep.
So anyway, so we have that, and then we've got Diane Kramer, who is the henchwoman to Doniger. She's like his PR lady, basically, and so she sucks. We have Susan Gomez, who is one of the bodyguards, the one who's decapitated.
Yikes.
So she exists for like a page. And then we have Lady Claire, whose main character trait is that she seduces men to trick them. Because I also didn't mention, because this was during the part where they were trying to escape, but basically when they go to the monastery to try and do something when they're escaping, they want to see like the high priest or whatever. And so they're like, we would like to request a meeting with the high priest. And they're like, well, he's busy. You're going to have to give him a second. And they're like, how could he possibly be busy? And then Lady Claire literally like comes out of the priest's room and like buttoning up her shirt or something. And they're like, the bed was all rumpled up. And then Chris is like judging her for being a slut. And it's like, oh
Chris,
my God.
You're a slut.
And then Lady Claire is like, you cannot judge me because I have no power. And I'm like, and she's like, I have to do certain things to get what I want. And it's like, yeah, it's 1357.
She has no power.
And a lot of people, you know what? If you have to do things now, you shouldn't have to.
Absolutely.
But we shouldn't judge people for doing these things.
Nope.
She is some random man who maybe I think is her uncle. I think Sir Oliver's her uncle, has chosen a new husband for her that she doesn't want to marry. And so she's trying to like do all these things. She's picking random men to fight for her hand. Like, leave her alone, okay?
She's just trying to have a say in her own life.
She's just trying to control her own life, as she should be able to. And Chris is like, wow, she's such a little whatever. And she is just, I'm just like, bro, you cannot, this is my problem. I'm just going to make a general statement.
Okay.
With when people are like, women should not be sluts. But then they're also like, I want to have sex with lots of women.
Yeah. It's like, who do you think?
It's like, okay.
Like, okay.
So who is it that you are trying to sleep with here? Because if women should not get married, have sex until they get married or whatever you believe, then, but you're not married and you want to have sex with lots of women. What in your opinion? You just want to have sex with people then that you are like putting down and you inherently think are lesser than you because they're doing something that you disagree with, even though it's what you want. Like
they want to create
a
class of women that are prostitutes who don't get paid.
Yes.
And then I guess that's their role.
When they do if they do end up getting married, they're like damaged goods or whatever because
that's what they want.
They did. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? You can't have it both ways, Chris. Okay? Leave her alone. So anyway, so let's go through our theory of Michael Crichton women characters. Sophie is not helpful, but she is hot. But she's also not really a main character, unhelpful. So I think it's okay if she's unhelpful.
The first 100 pages of the book, so it doesn't even,
not even. Yeah, she's like in the first 50 pages of the book, and then he forgets about her.
Yeah.
We have Elsie, who is, I'm going to put her in the same category, helpful and annoying. You remember in Prey, his sister, helpful and annoying.
Also,
I'm going to say Elsie is she's in the category of helpful and annoying.
Yes.
Kate, who is hot and helpful, obviously. Very hot in the fresh American way or whatever.
Yes, hot in a way where guys don't really look at her, but when you look at her, she like glows, you know?
Yes.
Yeah. She only, so it's like she only has beauty when Chris is looking at her, not when anyone else is.
He sees something in her that nobody else sees in her, for sure. So to Chris, she's hot and helpful.
Yes.
Diane Kramer, who I guess is annoying and helpful because she's the henchwoman for Doniger, and she's evil, but she's annoying and helpful. Evil, or we could put her in the evil woman category.
Yeah, she's just evil.
She's just evil. And then we have Susan Gomez, who basically doesn't matter because she is decapitated.
Stupid and unhelpful.
I don't really honestly know.
They were like, let's hide. And she was like, no. And then she got decapitated. So you're stupid and not helpful.
Like, I honestly don't.
You had one job.
She hardly. It's just like, what? And then Lady Claire, who is the pinnacle of Michael Crichton women, which is seducing men for her own benefit and manipulating men. And the only thing that she exists to do is manipulate men. Because according to Michael Crichton, most women they just use sex to manipulate men.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's that.
Oh my God, this guy.
On a scale of Black Plague, I'm trying to think of the word.
Pustules.
Yes, that's exactly the word I was trying to think of. Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10 Black Plague pustules, how do you rate this book?
God. 3 Black Plague pustules.
Really?
For me, yes.
Okay. Well, I would rate this 7.5.
7.5 pustules. That's a lot of pustules.
Yes, because, and I think, okay, so I think this is one of my favorite Crichton books because it is more history focused, and I'm a history girl. So what can I say?
This makes
You're
sense.
not as much of a history girl as I am, so it doesn't work for you, and that's fine. So I love that it had the same scientific, very technical perspective that he normally has, but on a historical way. And I've done archaeology in the past, in my studies, and so that was also really interesting to read about in a book. And so to me it was a great 7.5 book.
There you go, 7.5 swollen lymph nodes.
Oh God.
That's what happens when you have the Black Plague.
Yep.
All of your lymph nodes swell up.
Oh yeah.
I think that I'm gonna say my favorite Michael Crichton book because I don't think we're gonna cover it really, or if we do, it will be not as in depth because I don't think that you really liked. My favorite I think is Airframe.
I didn't read that.
You didn't read.
No.
And it is like a political thriller, but it's about like workers' unions and like an airplane building company, like an aerospace engineering company or something, and we follow like the PR lady.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
That's why I think we're not going to cover it, because then you would have to read it, and then I
want
don't think you
less.
would want to. But I read that book in like a day.
Is it short?
No.
Jeez.
It's not really. But I just thought it was really interesting. It's like, because I like a good like political thriller. Like put on like a dad political thriller movie and I will sit down and watch it. Which is why I went through my phase of liking The Manchurian Candidate, the one with Denzel.
Right.
I liked, there was a JFK movie that I watched that had Kevin Costner in it about the Bay of Pigs, and I really liked that movie. God. In high school, I really liked the movie about LBJ with Bryan Cranston.
Oh my God.
That was not even a political thriller, that's just a political movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I just, you know what? Put on a political thriller and I'll be all over it. Well, guys, thanks for listening to our third Into the Crichton-verse episode. We are slowly nearing the end of this little series, so if you have any new suggestions for Science Fiction Friday episodes, we are all ears. Please suggest some science fiction books to us. Yeah. Be sure to follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at A Book for My Sister podcast. We will see you guys in the next episode. So keep on yapping and reading until then. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.